Yeah.
You want to like him, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here,
Straight
man.
gangsters.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good morning. It is a beautiful Friday morning, and you are listening to Scout Team Sports. We are the Scout Team. We are bringing it to you hot and live every weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. and again at 11 a.m. on 12-ounce Sports Radio. I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
Yep, all of that is definitely true. And the man on the other microphone, he is the great patriot himself. He loves America more than he loves rice-a-roni, and that would be...
Yeah, it's your boy, Chris America, coming to you live this Friday morning. It is Friday, November the 16th. We are just 6 days away from Thanksgiving, Loudbeard. 6 days away. What the hell happened to 2018?
I have no idea, and I am with you. Right now, I'm looking at the calendar and saying to myself, where did this year go? How are we already in November? How are we already halfway through November? How is next week Thanksgiving? I do not have answers for all of these questions. All I know is that I'm like a crotchety old man, and I'm like, I remember when I was a kid, and years felt like they took forever, and now that I'm old, they just flash by in the blink of an eye. Don't you agree, sir?
I agree. Thanksgiving's next weekend. The last regular season week of college football is next weekend. The college football season just went by, just blew by in a blaze. It's completely gone now, Loudbeard. Yeah, only 2 games left for your Knights, only 2 games left for my Gators, and definitely only 2 games, period, for the Florida State Seminoles.
Yeah. They're not looking like they're going to be making it into the bowl season this year, do they?
Not at all.
They got to win both their final games, if I remember correctly. And
yes,
based on historical evidence from this year, I would say that the odds of that happening seem to be very slim to none for the Florida State Seminoles to make it through to a bowl. But we digress by talking about Seminoles. I feel like that brings down the show a little bit. We have a little bit more integrity than that, a little bit more testicular fortitude than that, if you would say so. So we're going to talk about winners.
Yes.
And we need to talk about winners. We have a huge weekend coming up in college football. We'll talk about all those games, right? Why not? There are great games, especially one locally, that we are going to have a good time with, and that is the College Game Day matchup of the week, the 8 o'clock ESPN, the marquee matchup. The UCF Knights are getting on the big screen. This is their chance to show up in front of a national audience, bigger than they have ever had to show up before. So, obviously, I'm a homer with UCF. I know that you're an advocate. We could talk all day about how great they are, but there are also some other great matchups. We'll get into all of that as we go on here. Last night we had Thursday Night Football. It ended up being a pretty good little Thursday night matchup, right? We had Aaron Rodgers, the greatness out there. Russell Wilson, also the greatness. Great game last night. All kinds of stuff for us to talk about. NBA action. Melo officially gone, and the Rockets look like they're back.
The Rockets look like they're back, and the Warriors continue the are they in trouble narrative with their blowout loss. But I want to talk about the NFL game first, Loudbeard, and it was an interesting game. It's interesting how Aaron Rodgers cannot win in Seattle. It's the only, I'm pretty sure I'd have to look at it. It's probably the only NFC city that he's not won a game in, or at least has tried this many times and still hasn't won a game in. And last night it looked like he was looking good. They went up 14-3 early. He was looking electric. He was on fire, while Wilson, on the other hand, seemed to look dazed and confused. He missed on some easy throws. It was looking like, hey, the route was going to go for the away team this time. We mentioned how the away team normally gets routed by the home team on these Thursday night games, but it looked like Aaron Rodgers was doing his thing. There was at one point a touchdown throw where he rolled out from the 40-yard line, kind of threw off his back foot across his body, 59 yards down the field, perfect strike for a touchdown. It was just classic Aaron Rodgers. But alas, it wasn't meant to be, Loudbeard. The Seahawks came back. Twice they had to come back. They took the lead once, 17-14. Then the Packers went up 21-17, and with 5 minutes left to go, our boy, Wilson threw a final touchdown pass, and that was it. That was all she wrote. And it looks like I lost Loudbeard. So I'm kind of wondering to myself, there was 5 minutes left on the clock, which is plenty of time for Aaron Rodgers to win this game, and he didn't do it. And I'm not going to take the take that that's a negative on Aaron Rodgers or try to tell you that Aaron Rodgers isn't great, because he is a great quarterback. I'm just wondering why Aaron Rodgers always gets the pass while other quarterbacks, if that were them, would have been said, oh, well, this is why I hate Kirk Cousins, or this is why I can't stand Cam Newton, because he can't win the big games. Aaron Rodgers a lot of times comes up short on these football games. He's come short in the playoffs. He's come short, obviously, in Seattle a bunch of times. Can't win there. And I'm just kind of wondering what happened to Aaron Rodgers last night to make him not be able to come back and win.
Well, you know what, Chris America? I'm gonna
you are.
Just interject.
Welcome back.
Yeah. I just want to interject real quick. Oh, were you throwing it over to me?
I threw it over to you, and then there was silence. But that's okay. That's to make up for all of the mornings that you've thrown it to me. There's a message on your phone that says, hold on 1 second. Okay.
I will be right back. Carry it on. So I apologize for that. I did. I had to go, take care of some business for a quick moment.
Hey, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
That's right. That's right.
They do make pills for that, though.
This is the time of year where we see Aaron Rodgers falter. This is the problem, Chris America. What you're not realizing is it seems like it happens every year, and then all of a sudden he bounces back. He bounces back, and he always has this electric press conference after the games when he's doing bad, where a few years ago he told everybody to relax. And he was right. He told everybody to relax, and he came back. I think last night after this game, we may have just had the perfect press conference to turn this team around, because Aaron Rodgers is doing what Aaron Rodgers does. He's trying to tell people, like, relax. I'm the guy. I'm going to make this happen. So I want you to listen in real quick as we get some Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron's there any hope left for this season?
Come on, Rob. What kind of question is that?
I don't know. I mean,
come on, man.
Can't win on the road. What are you going to be able to do?
I don't even know how to answer that, Rob. I mean, come on, what am I supposed to say? Of course there's hope. Of course we believe in each other. Just got to take one galvanizing moment. So whether that's a speech or practice or something happens in the game, something's got to get this thing going. I thought we had moments tonight where that was the way we were going. The defense, a lot of injuries. Offensively, we lost Jimmy, but guys battled. So, nobody gave up hope. We just didn't.
Come on, Rob. I'm cutting him off right
what
there.
do you want me to say to that?
What do you want me to say to that? Come on, Rob. That's going to be my new... I think I need to make a poster for that. It says, just come on, Rob.
You should make one that says, come on, Kirk, for
Herbstreit.
For Kirk Herbstreit.
Yeah, I'll do a picture of Aaron Rodgers
come on,
the
Kirk.
press conference, and it says, come on, Kirk. That's not a bad idea. Yeah, so I might not have the energy I normally have, Chris America. I'm going to keep talking about this Packers game, but last night I was making posters for game day, so I was up really late. Yeah. And I'm just
You're
now
doing the Lord's work.
I'm living on fumes. I am.
No, man, I got you. I'll bring the energy. You just bring the commentary. Loudbeard, I was talking when you stepped away for a second about how I'm not going to be negative on Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Aaron Rodgers deserves any criticism, but I just hate that he gets a pass while everybody else doesn't. Everybody else gets thrown into this big ball of, oh, well, you didn't win, so therefore you're a bad quarterback. Or, see, I told you Kirk Cousins isn't good. He might have all these yards and everything, but he can't win in big games. He can't win in comebacks. He can't win in playoffs. And Aaron Rodgers is that guy. Aaron Rodgers is the great quarterback who puts up lots of yards, who doesn't win. And I think that's why we get into the debate of Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers. Tom Brady wins those games. Tom Brady wins playoff games. Tom Brady wins Super Bowls. Aaron Rodgers is just a really great quarterback with one Super Bowl playoff run and a lot of just disappointment and passes. He gets a lot of passes. Now, I'm not talking about football passes. I'm talking about passes from fans, passes from media. We just give him a pass where we don't give other quarterbacks that same pass. If this was anybody but Aaron Rodgers, I guarantee you we'd be listening to Talk Radio today and everybody would be scrutinizing quarterback X if his name wasn't Aaron Rodgers for not coming back and winning that game. And
Is
for
Aaron
his team,
Rodgers more like a Peyton
being,
Manning than a Tom Brady?
I don't know. I don't know that Peyton Manning's ever been 4-5-1 in his career.
Now, that's a good point. I mean,
other than like his first couple of seasons, I don't know once Peyton Manning got into his prime if he's ever been 4-5-1.
Yeah, but he only had that one Super Bowl win while he was in his prime.
Right,
his
you're
second
right.
win came late. So his criticism his whole career was, could he win the big game?
Right.
And
but nobody even criticizes Aaron Rodgers for that.
Yeah,
I don't
can see
ever
where
hear
you're going with
anybody
that.
I don't ever hear anybody say, "Can Aaron Rodgers win the big game?" Nobody says that.
Yeah, I mean, he's been clutch in moments, though. I mean, we talk about, like, last
No,
night.
he has.
Was last night a clutch moment? Yeah, he could have been clutch, and he wasn't. I also think that he gets a little bit of a pass because I don't think his coaching staff is doing him any favors. I was looking at it last night, and they only ran the ball 13 times. I don't think that you're going to effectively win games when you only run the ball 13 times, especially when last week they had a huge win and their rushing attack helped carry them. And this week, they come up short, and they're just not running the ball effectively. I think that they are, like Mike McCarthy, and I know our co-host, our good friend, the Golden Ghost, at Anthony, or at Max Scout Team on Twitter. I know he likes to trash on McCarthy. He likes to throw out hashtags, fire McCarthy. I get all that. And I think it's actually deserved. I think McCarthy is not game planning effectively with Aaron Rodgers. And last night, Rodgers had moments, and he said it in his press conference. He had moments where there was greatness, that things looked positive. And if you're out there on social media, I'm sure you've seen it. If you watched the game, I'm sure you've seen it. But he had one of the most beautiful plays last night, a 50-yard touchdown pass to his third-string tight end. He gets flushed out of the pocket. He's running to the sideline, and he just wings it, and it is a beautiful thrown pass, and it lands right in the hands of his tight end in the end zone, 54 yards. It was one of the best passes I have seen all year, and that is that vintage Aaron Rodgers, and you see that, and you're like, man, this is what I believe in. This is the Aaron Rodgers that I believe in. And when you see it, and when you watch that, that's how you believe, and that's how you give Aaron Rodgers a pass, is because he's making plays. It's not his fault that his defense is terrible, and they don't call plays to run it. I mean, unless he audibles on the line, and he basically doesn't want to run the ball, and just he's audibles to a passing play each down. I mean, I don't know what the situation is like in Green Bay. All I know is they win when they run the ball effectively, and they lose when they don't, but they still don't give the running game a chance. And I think that is the biggest problem, and it seems like it's an easy fix. I mean, yeah, I'm a Monday morning quarterback. Yeah, I'm viewing this from the outside, but I'm not the only one that believes that McCarthy's game planning is really hurting this Green Bay Packers. Now, if Tom Brady was struggling, he wouldn't get a pass because Bill Belichick always game plans effectively. He's always out there doing it. So Tom Brady had the luxury of having a coach that is a great coach. And Peyton Manning had the luxury of having Tony Dungy his whole career, or most of his career at least. He had a great coach. I just don't know that McCarthy can even sniff at those other coaches. And so Aaron Rodgers gets a pass because he doesn't have the support around him. And I don't know that it's fair, and I don't know that he deserves that. But that, I think, is the bigger issue in Green Bay, and it definitely not Aaron Rodgers.
So obviously Tom Brady's a poor example, but we see all the time quarterback after quarterback where, and I always keep using Kirk Cousins because he seems to be the most scrutinized quarterback the last 3 years, where for whatever reason people have chosen to hate on Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins is a really good, solid quarterback, and I always hate when I hear people say, Kirk Cousins lost the game, therefore he's not a good quarterback, or the Redskins didn't make the playoffs, so Kirk Cousins isn't good, or the Redskins lost in the playoffs, so there you go. I told you Kirk Cousins wasn't a good quarterback. And he can have all the same excuses that Aaron Rodgers has. Jay Gruden, not a great coach. He's not a proven coach. I know that's your guy, but there is nothing that you can say about Jay Gruden yet that proves that Jay Gruden is not the problem in Washington. And I don't know that they've ever really had a solid running game in the Washington Redskins. And right now, with the Minnesota Vikings, he's still kind of looking for a running game there. So you can use that excuse for Kirk Cousins. But I finally looked up Aaron Rodgers' his playoff record, and what was striking is these two names are right next to each other. Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers. Who would you assume has the better playoff win percentage?
I don't know, but that sounds like a really good list of elite quarterbacks.
Of
Joe
what?
Flacco, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
Joe
Yep.
Flacco, Aaron Rodgers. Does Flacco have the higher percentage because Flacco can't make it into the playoffs the last 5 years?
No.
After the Super Bowl?
No, look. So Joe Flacco is 10-5. Aaron Rodgers is 9-7. So they've played a very similar amount of playoff games. Obviously, that's 16 games to 15 games. So they've played in just about the same amount of playoff games as
both have
as
one
the other.
Super Bowl.
They both have one Super Bowl.
So that's comparable.
Yep. So I mean those are two guys that have been to the playoffs, have played the same amount of playoff games, have won the same amount of Super Bowls. One guy's 10-5, another guy is 2 games above 500.
That's an interesting theory you have there.
And I wouldn't say that Joe Flacco
stat.
I don't think that Joe Flacco has a great coach. Maybe you could say Rice is better than any running back that Aaron Rodgers has ever had, but I can't name you any great all-time wide receivers for the Ravens. He's had some solid wide receivers. He's had some great veterans come through there to help him out, but so has Aaron Rodgers.
So you're saying that the Packers should have drafted Lamar Jackson, and then they would have fixed their quarterback and running back problem all in one.
Exactly, all in one swoop.
There was too many cornerbacks on the board. That's the problem on the draft board. The Packers couldn't
But
pull
see,
the
we
trigger on Lamar
criticize Joe
Jackson.
Flacco now for his team being 4-5 or whatever they are, but we're kind of silent on Aaron Rodgers' team being 4-5. We find excuses, and again, they're all good excuses, and I'm not saying they're not. I just wish other quarterbacks would be treated like Aaron Rodgers is being treated.
So you're telling me he's like the Carmelo Anthony of the NFL?
It looks like that, yeah. Except for he has a ring and Carmelo doesn't. Well, Carmelo has the Olympic gold medals. I don't know which one you find more important.
Nah, I don't know. Those were devalued after the Dream Team. Kind of like, nothing ever lives up to that Dream Team. Living in the shadow.
I did find that really interesting that Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers have played the same amount of playoff games, and one has a far better record.
Hey, you know what? That's tweet-worthy. I'll tell you right now that if you are out there listening right now, listeners, we thank you for listening to our show. You can always interact with us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, but we get real active on Twitter. Check us out at Scout Team Radio. Tweet at us during the show. We take live tweets on the air. We talk about them. You can propose any question you want, like who's a better quarterback, Joe Flacco or Aaron Rodgers. We all know the answer. We know one of those quarterbacks is elite and the other one isn't. So eventually Aaron Rodgers may be in the same realm as Joe Flacco. We don't know. He might earn it one day. We'll have to find out. Right now, you talk about quarterbacks getting a lot of heat. Blake Bortles, he gets a lot of heat. Maybe he should be in that conversation too.
Maybe he should. I mean, he's 2-1 in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a much better record than both of them.
I mean, he's won more playoff games than most franchises in the NFL the last 20 years.
That's a good point. All right, well, last night's game was a great game, right? So, but I don't know if I've got a whole lot more to cover other than, Seahawks get the big win. They needed it.
Seahawks did get the big win. They needed it. And, hey, man, we talked about Aaron Rodgers being clutch. When we watch the Seahawks play the Packers, the person that comes out looking clutch is Wilson. And he's another guy that I think we sort of appreciate him, but I don't think we appreciate him as much as we do Drew Brees or Aaron Rodgers or Ben Roethlisberger. And I think he deserves to be up there to be named with those guys. He's had the same excuses everybody else has had, and he's had no running game. His offensive line has been garbage the last few seasons. And his defense, yes, the defense did carry him a lot of the ways, but the defense also didn't throw a Hail Mary in overtime against the Green Bay Packers to win, back 2 years ago I guess that was 4 years ago. Man, you were right about that old man time flying thing, Loudbeard.
Yeah, I can't keep track of time either. I'm like, didn't Joe Flacco win the Super Bowl 2 years ago? No, it was like 6 years ago.
No, it was like 6 years ago. The Seahawks were really, really elite 4 years ago. Yeah. So, Loudbeard, there was another basketball game last night that was also one of note that we had to mark in our calendars and write down and make sure you watched. And it was kind of a snoozer. Didn't live up to the hype.
Yeah, and I mentioned it on kind of the beginning of the show here, but the Rockets did a good thing. They finally released Melo. We all knew it was happening, but once it was official, it felt like the weight was lifted off of this Houston Rockets shoulder. And then now they can go out and be the team that they were last year. They can be the team that we know they can be. And that's what we're starting to see. So we see a victory out there. The Rockets beat the Warriors 107-86. The second storyline to all of this is I saw yesterday on all the news outlets, all the talking heads were talking about it, that the Warriors are quietly trying to just say, we're good, we're moving past this. I saw a picture of Draymond and Kevin Durant before the game doing shoot-arounds right next to each other. It looked like they may have been chattering. So just like in a positive way, just, rebuilding that relationship, rekindling that love, if you will. And you're seeing that and you're thinking, okay, maybe we're making a bigger deal out of this whole castle crumbling, this whole big dynasty possibly being shattered. And then they go out last night, and I know they don't have Steph Curry, and that's a huge part of what this team does is what Steph brings to the court. But they show me on the court that chemistry right now is off, that there is something else there. And I know, especially when you have these big emotional egos of Kevin Durant and Draymond Green, you cannot turn those emotions off. And it is affecting these guys on the floor. It's affecting them on the court. And you're seeing it in the score and the body language and everything out there. This is not over, Chris America. There is still miles to go before this Warriors team can be the Warriors team that they should be. And I don't know if it's going to get repaired. I assume that they're going to continue to work on it. But this could have long-term ramifications for the Warriors if they don't hurry up and figure out what the problem is.
So, Loudbeard, what are the Golden State Warriors known for? What's their bread and butter?
3-point shots.
Yeah, their three-point shooting is what they're known for. And last night was the first time since 2013 that no one in the Warriors starting five made a three-pointer. They were 0-9 from three-point range. So they only took 9 three-pointers. That should tell you a lot about what was going on with the Warriors. Klay Thompson took he was 0-5. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong person. Damian Jones took no three-pointers. That's good. Don't take any three-pointers there, Damian Jones. But 0-9, and the fact that they only took 9 three-point shots throughout the entire game should tell you everything you need to know. The person who made the most for the Warriors was Quinn Cook. Quinn Cook was 3 for 4. They had to get him from the bench, and he was the only guy on the Warriors, it looks like, that made 3-point range. Yeah,
They're really pulling it deep in the lineup there, huh? Quinn Cook carrying him
on the 3-point line. So if that's who's carrying you with your 3-point shots, then you're not going to win many games, Golden State. Golden State's 12-4, so it's hard to get behind this whole narrative of they're in trouble, but I think we like this happening, don't we? Don't we kind of like seeing a chink in the armor? We like to see imperfection. We're glad to finally see something that will tell us that there's going to be a different playoff this NBA season, that we can kind of maybe start to discuss other teams. Well, now that the Warriors are down, who really does have a chance? And that makes for a more fun NBA, if you ask me, Loudbeard, because if I were to ask you who's going to win the Super Bowl, you and I could have a fun hour-long conversation discussing between the Rams and the Saints and the Chiefs and the Steelers and the
Chargers.
Patriots.
Don't
and
forget the Chargers. You always leave out my Chargers.
I was about to mention them. You know, you could talk about Green Bay, who's 4-5-1. Green Bay, you could still give an argument about why Aaron Rodgers is going to pick them up by their bootstraps. You mentioned that speech he gave during the press conference. Now, that's going to be the moment that changes everything around. You can have that conversation. But when it comes to the NBA, it's just, who do you think is going to win the NBA championship? And you just say Golden State.
Yep. You almost can't even argue for another team. You can. I mean, the Rockets, they could be in the argument, but deep down, it's like when Chicago had their run with Michael Jordan. You would say, well, the Phoenix Suns are good because they have Charles Barkley. Well, they're good, but they're not going to beat the Bulls.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, Hakeem Olajuwon has the Rockets. Yeah, they're good, but Michael Jordan has to go play baseball for them to win a championship. That's how this is right now with the Golden State Warriors. Now, instead of having one player in Michael Jordan or two in Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, they've got 4 guys like that, and that, to me, makes them a more dangerous team because they can lose one of those guys and still be just a super team. But we're hungry to see them fall. We're hungry to see them falter. We are tired of the same team over and over and over. They're a super team. We don't even think anybody else has a chance. We want to see them crumble. And that's why this story is so important. That's why it's getting so much play, why it has so much leg. It's because we want to see Golden State fall apart. They have been too perfect for too long. And I'll be honest with you, that season that LeBron had to carry Kyrie to a championship for Cleveland, I loved it because Golden State was up 3-1 and Cleveland came back, and it was just such an inspirational story because Golden State has been such a juggernaut. And since that moment, they have been unbeatable in the playoffs. And we are now coming up to a point where Kevin Durant could leave, the team is falling apart emotionally, and we just love watching that soap opera. They're the Kardashians of the NBA at this point.
Yeah, and we are definitely loving them falling apart and seeing a team like Houston, who's 7-7 now. They're finally figured it out, just like you said with Carmelo being gone. I mean, they were running on all cylinders last night. I was catching that. I was going in and out of that game, and every time I would turn it on, man, the Rockets were just doing whatever they wanted. You had one point where the Golden State Warriors got a turnover. They had like a 3-on-2 with Chris Paul being the guy in the paint and a big man driving the lane. I don't know who it was, but he went to drive the lane, and Chris Paul just took the ball right out of his hands, tossed it back down to the other side of the court, and they hit a three-pointer. So they like when Chris Paul is doing whatever he wants to a big man in the lane as he's driving down the court in a what is that called, a fast break?
Yep.
You're not gonna. You're just having. That's just not your night.
Yeah, and Chris Paul, I mean, he's a huge part of the success of the Rockets, especially last season. It's nice to see him getting back. He's got in his groove. The big three that is in Houston, they look like they are all meshing together. I can't believe taking the one thorn out of the side of Houston has made such a big difference. And, I mean, I don't want to put it all on Melo, but he was a chemistry killer. And having him gone, Houston may all of a sudden look like the Golden State of this year. They may make a run, and I think they have a little bit of a grudge match up in store for them against Golden State when it comes to possibly being in the finals or wherever they meet in the playoffs. I would love to see that. I want to see Houston give it to them and get back to the brilliance that they were last year. And I still think if Chris Paul would not have got hurt, it would have been a completely different story in the Western Conference Finals. But you know what? Who am I? What am I doing? I don't know. We are ready for a quick commercial break. Stay tuned. We will be back shortly where we discuss why cranberry sauce is by far the best side at any Thanksgiving dinner absolutely ever.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. "12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst."
Oh, guess who it is? Did you know the station had a janitor? Oh yeah, the Jefe, otherwise known as Beck. And it's Beck's Work Week in Review live on 12-ounce sports radio every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Catch interviews, special guests, and the recap of the week's news and headlines and box scores and results. It's Beck's Work Week in Review live on 12-ounce sports radio.
Scout Team listeners and friends of the show, I've got something special for you. It looks like 12-ounce sports radio has done it again. We have partnered with Rally House. You just go to the website 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner on the right side of the page, and it will take you directly to Rally House. Rally House has some of the greatest, most unique sports items for that diehard fan, casual fan, and anybody and everybody out there that is special in your life. So go ahead and check it out. Once again, go to that website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner to the right of the page, and you will get taken to the best sports merchandise website on all of the interweb. Do you own a small business? Are you looking for solutions to all of your communications, problems, and challenges that you have? Check out Ring Central. Give them a call. They have partnered with 12ozsportsradio.com to give you the best rates on all of your business and office solutions for communication. Give them a call today. We have a dedicated line for all of the 12-ounce sports radio listeners. It is 1-877-779-3860. You will get a representative on the phone who will help you with all of your small business communications needs. Once again, give them a call today. 1-877-779-3860. Welcome back, listeners. Thank you once again for listening in. We are the Scout Team, bringing you Scout Team Sports. He's Chris America. I'm Loud Beard. We bring it to you hot each and every weekday morning, 6 a.m. and again at 11 a.m. on 12-ounce sports radio. We also like to drop our podcast. We record every live show. Drop the podcast immediately after the show. You can go and listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or anywhere you can find podcasts, or our website, scoutteamradio.com. Wow, it is a beautiful winter morning. At least it feels like it. Here in sunny Florida, the temperature, it's got to be at least 60. I mean, it's freezing out there. And I saw pictures all around the country of people with snow, making snowmen, having to de-ice their windows. And I just want you to know, Chris America, I'm sitting here in the studio, and I have an air conditioner in the studio because 10 and a half months out of the year, it's 90 degrees or hotter in Florida. But this is that one weekend or that one couple days where it gets a little chilly, and I just realized I do not have a heater in the studio. I might have to make an investment. The good news is for the first time in a very long time, I did not have to turn the air conditioning on this morning in the studio. So I feel great about that, and I also feel great because I'm going to get some comfort food here in a few days because Thanksgiving is coming. I get to add on a few extra of those winter pounds to keep me warm. That body fat will help keep me warm all winter long in this really freezing cold 68-degree winter that we are facing right now in the state of Florida. College game day is going to be absolutely beautiful with all the cold weather, all the freezing cold takes that we're going to hear from all the college game day analysts, and I'm ready for it. Like I said, I was up all night making posters, but usually after the commercial break, we don't talk about Loudbeard's posters. I will blast it all over social media, on Scout Team Radio, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. So be ready for that. It's going to be a great weekend for social media for the Scout Team. Listeners, just check it out. But we like to go into our Friday with a hot draft. And Chris America, today's draft is as hot can be. Are you ready for this?
Yes, Loudbeard, and you mentioned so many topics, and I wanted to comment on all of them, but you just kept going. But the one comment I wanted to make, Loudbeard, I know you have this problem because you still have growing children. This is the first time of the year where you got to be like, oh, shoot, where are the kids' jackets? And hopefully the kids' jacket still fits them. Because it's been about 12 months, maybe I don't know, maybe not 12 months. It's probably been about 10 to 9 months since the last time my kids had to wear a jacket here in Florida. And I'm just kind of hoping that the jacket still fits. You never think about it until it's the morning of, where you wake up, you walk the dog, you're like, oh, yeah, that's right, it is cold outside, and now I got to tell the kids to dress warm, and their jacket doesn't fit.
Yeah, my daughter, she's around the same age as your kids, and she'll pull the old, she'll get herself dressed with a T-shirt and shorts, and I'm going to have to be like, whoa, you need to wear pants, kid,
you
it's
need
the
to wear
winter.
pants.
Come
and then
on.
you're hoping that they're not, that the pants fit too, because you don't want them looking like they're preparing for a flood.
High ankle, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, why do those pants look like shorts now? Why
do you have capris on? It's too cold for capris. Oh, those were your pants from last year? Okay.
Yeah, that you know what? That's gonna happen. I know that's gonna happen.
And it's gonna happen even worse now that because now they're hitting that growth spurt age too. Sometimes you can get away with it a year where like a jacket will fit for like 2 years. Now it's gonna be like they're 10 and then they're 10 and a half and they're like 6 feet tall.
I'm already witnessing it, man. Every day I wake up, I'm like, oh my God, you're almost as tall as me, and you're 10. What the hell?
Then you're like, time to start learning how to dribble a basketball if you're going to keep growing.
Yeah. We need to make some money. Your daddy needs to retire.
Although I think the real money in women's sports is probably fighting, UFC fighting.
Yeah.
Do you think that would be the top moneymaker for female sports?
All right, let's get into inequality in pay for women's athletes. Great topic, Chris America. We're going to really dive deep into this one today.
Well, since we're talking about Thanksgiving dinner, I mean, it's a Thanksgiving tradition to bring up uncomfortable conversations with your family members, and nothing's more uncomfortable than female inequality. So since I figured we had to get the mood right before we start drafting Thanksgiving side dishes.
Perfect.
Got to get in the season.
You got me awkwardly, uncomfortably in the mood right now.
Yes. Feels like you're at home and your Uncle Larry is just ready to talk politics.
I had to think of the most awkward and uncomfortable laugh.
And that's the best one of them all.
Kawhi.
You have 6 days to nail down that laugh for when you're with family, and you can give them that awkward laugh.
Ha 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 ha.
All right, Loudbeard, I think you have first pick.
Okay. Got to go first, huh? You put a lot of pressure on me. But you know what? I'm just going to have fun with this because, let's see. I'm going to have fun with this. Sorry, I'm writing down this list here because I'm always prepared. All right, so my number one pick for the Thanksgiving side dish draft that we are doing today, I'm going with my favorite. And this is a classic, and it is at every Thanksgiving that I have ever been to, and that is the good old mac and cheese. And I'm going to go basic mac and cheese, but I will say that my wife has made a mac and cheese with like 10 different cheeses on it, like one of those super unhealthy cheesy mac and cheese, and that to me is heaven on a plate and one of the best side dishes on all the planet. So my number one pick for best side dish is mac and cheese.
That's a solid pick. You can't go wrong with mac and cheese unless you start putting ketchup on it like Patrick Mahomes, but that's another day for another story, or another story for another day. I'm going to go with the classic one. I got to hit up with the green bean casserole. I love a solid green bean casserole, especially when you get those like fried onions on top. So delicious. It's got that crispity crunch, that like gravy, saucy goodness of Thanksgiving with the healthiness of green beans, which probably all the healthiness is canceled out by all the other crap that you put in a green bean casserole. So you feel good about eating it. Like you're like, yes, I'm finally eating my vegetables, Mom. But really deep down inside in your flavor town, it's saying, no, we're eating unhealthy and this is great.
I like it. Good choice. And you cook it with the like can of cream of mushroom soup, which makes it real like creamy also. The whole casserole is just mad delicious. Good choice, Chris America. I'm going to move on to my next favorite, and I'm going to do a casserole also. I've got a lot of casseroles on my list. I feel like Thanksgiving is a huge casserole time of year, and the good old sweet potato casserole with the marshmallows melted on top, maybe a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of sugar, just absolute deliciousness. So my number 2 pick is going to be the sweet potato casserole.
Damn you, you took my pick. I was kind of deciding between sweet potato or green bean. I was like, well, I don't want to go to dessert right away, because that is sort of I look at that as more of like a dessert dish. I always save that for last. When I'm eating my plate, I eat around the sweet potato. I kind of sometimes I'll dip my turkey in it. I don't know if you've ever tried that, but next time this year, if you haven't, make sure you dip your turkey in your sweet potato casserole.
Pass.
And eat it that way.
Pass.
Oh, it's so good. Try it.
I'll take your word for it.
Try it. You'll like it.
All right, you're the Patrick Mahomes of Scout Team Radio.
No, come on. You should try it. You'll like it. It's all going to the same place anyways.
Man, and peer pressure. What's wrong with you?
Do it. So I always go safe. I don't know.
You were born safe.
I was born safe. I think I'm going to go with, I'm trying to decide between these two. Nope, I'm going to go with my favorite. I'm not going to go with the fan favorite. I'm going to go with the old-fashioned buttermilk biscuit. Love me a good biscuit. You need a good, solid carb to go with all the other carbs, like your mac and cheese. But you need a good bready carb to go with it, and I'm a big fan of the buttermilk biscuit. Just slather butter all over it. It's good.
Okay, yeah, you got to have a good biscuit on there. I like it. That's a good choice, Chris America. Oh, you're putting pressure on me now. There's a lot of pressure. Your list is growing stronger as we go along here, and that means I'm really going to have to step up my game. I'm really going to have to bring my A game on this next choice. And you know what? There is not a Thanksgiving dinner that is complete without a little bit of stuffing. I'm going stuffing with my third choice in the Thanksgiving side dish fantasy draft.
Can I say something that's going to make you call me Chris Russia instead of Chris America?
You don't like stuffing.
I don't. I'm not a fan. I mean, I can eat it, but I'm not going to. It's just, it seems like a lot of work it seems like a lot of filling in my stomach for something that doesn't taste that good. Like, it's
This is
okay.
weird. This has gotten weird. You don't like stuffing and you love communism. I just don't understand.
See, I told you. Yeah, it's just, if I'm going to eat Thanksgiving dinner, I need to make sure I eat as much food as I can, as much delicious food as I can, and stuffing stuffs me up, and the flavor is just not enough to justify taking up space in my stomach, is how I look at it. Like, it's not bad. Like, I don't think it's gross. I just don't think it's good enough for me to have to put in my stomach to take away from space of something else I like.
All right.
I guess
well,
that
you
means
can,
it's
you
my
can
pick now,
diss
right?
on my pick all you want, but it is
I'm
your
not
turn.
dissing on. I'm just saying it's just
your
not
turn.
for me.
Go.
I know everybody else loves it.
Communist.
I know. I'm the communist. Let's see what else we got here. Going down my list, you took away too much. You know what? Since you're going stuffing, I'm gonna go with the other solid, safe pick, and that's the mashed potatoes. You can't have Thanksgiving without mashed potatoes, Loudbeard. And I don't care how you cook it. If it's just regular mashed potatoes and gravy, if you want to throw some cheese in there, if you want to put sour cream and have like a nice loaded mashed potato thing going on with some bacon bits. The mashed potato is so versatile. You can do anything with it. It never tastes bad. And like we said, our Spuds for Life sponsor would love that.
Yeah, Spuds for Life. All right, I've got two choices here that I'm playing with. One's safe, one's not so safe, but I actually almost kind of like the second one better. Maybe not. I'm going to go a little bit safe with my fourth pick, and on my fifth pick, I may go off the rails a little bit. Might throw you off a little bit. So I'm going to go with the classic cornbread casserole. I don't know if you've had a delicious cornbread casserole, but a cornbread casserole done right is true heaven on earth. And I'm going number 4, cornbread casserole.
So what's in a cornbread casserole?
Corn and bread, and I don't know, but it's a thing.
You're like, I don't ask questions, I just do it.
And I think it's fresh top of mind. Yesterday at my day job, we did this little Thanksgiving luncheon where everybody kind of did a potluck, brings in dishes. And whoever it was that brought in the cornbread dish at my work, thank you. I know everybody's got to be listening in right now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It was so delicious. So it's probably top of mind, but I don't know what to say, but yes. Just
all right.
Yes.
I'm going to say one that probably a lot of people don't like, but I love it. So I'm going to make my pick. This is going to be the pick where everybody says, oh, I can't vote for this because that's on there, so I'm going to vote Loudbeard. It's going to be the cream corn, man. I love me some cream corn. I don't know what it is about cream corn, and Thanksgiving's really the only time I like eating it. If you were to be like, hey, Chris, you want cream corn for dinner on like March 15th? I'm going to say, dude, no. What are you doing? But I guess it's kind of like stuffing. You don't eat stuffing on any other day, and really turkey. You don't really eat turkey any other day but Thanksgiving, and cream corn is just one of those Thanksgiving meals I need to have every single year.
All right. Hey, we're getting some Twitter influence here. I don't know if you've had a chance to take a look at what we've got going on Twitter. If our listeners want to tweet at us, they can always tweet at us on Scout Team Radio. Our friend Memphis Spence tweeted, Loudbeard is definitely winning the draft. Uh-huh. So I just want to throw that out there. Just rubbing it in. Just rubbing it in.
You have the first pick. I'm not making solid picks here. I know what's going on.
It's conspiracy. All right, so number 5. I'm going a little bit different, a little off the rails. It really depends how these are made for how delicious they can be, but you don't see them at every Thanksgiving. But when somebody makes an amazing Brussels sprout, it is to die for. Oh, Chris America, number 5. I'm going Brussels sprouts.
Now you're just this is what happens to you, Loudbeard, is you got that little bit of confidence. Somebody told you you're definitely winning this draft, and now you're celebrating. You're like the Dallas Cowboy defender who's strutting down the field against the Buffalo Bills, and somebody comes and swipes the ball out of your hand, and now you don't get to have the record for the most points scored in a Super Bowl. Why do you throw away your draft like this, bud?
You know, the problem is it's an underrated side dish. I'm telling you right now that you put a little bacon in with it, you bake them, they come out delicious. I don't know why Brussels sprouts always get a bad rap.
Because they taste like dirt?
No, they don't. Oh, you just haven't had them right, my friend.
I mean,
I am not a baker, but if I get the drunken chef on here, I bet he could make you a Brussels sprout that will make your mouth water. You just don't even know, Chris America. You're not living real life.
You threw on some bacon, and bacon makes everything better. But all right, God, I don't even know where to go from here. I had something pulled up. I'll go with the potato gratin. I'm a good fan of potato gratin. It tastes delicious. You've already won this draft, so I'm just going to fold it in with what I like, potato gratin.
Oh, potato au gratin. Nice. All right. I like where you're going with that. That is the end of our draft. We always like to talk about our, our runners-up, right? We've got a lot of honorable mentions we want to go over here. Who are some of your honorable mentions?
Let's see. Obviously, cranberry sauce didn't make the list. Another honorable mention, I wanted to throw it on there, but I didn't want to have two breads, but Hawaiian rolls. I love me some Hawaiian rolls. Anytime I see Hawaiian rolls at the Thanksgiving dinner, I am doubly excited about that, and I will put a Hawaiian roll and a biscuit on my plate if they're both there and ready. And since you went with Brussels sprouts, why didn't you put on some roasted pureed squash?
No, I do like squash though. I'm a big squash fan. I like squash just sliced, and then anyway, I would have eaten that. That would have been a good one. I would have been all for it. So for me, some of my honorable mentions. I love candied yams. Now, I did bring sweet potato casserole in. I felt like they were too similar in a family to be able to do both of them on the same draft. So I decided to back away from that. And I don't know. I think that they don't get enough love. Candied yams, the perfect Thanksgiving side dish. Honestly, and a lot of people out there love-hate relationship with this one. The cranberry sauce, I always get a little bit of cranberry sauce. I know it's not great, but it makes me feel like Thanksgiving. So I would have given an honorable mention to cranberry sauce.
All right, Loudbeard. Well, we got about 4 more minutes left of the show. I want to spend it talking about how big of a deal College Game Day coming to Orlando is. I know that you've lived in Orlando since you came to UCF, right?
Yep. Long
I've been
time
in
ago
Orlando
when I was a young Loudbeard.
Well, I've been in Orlando my entire life. I have watched the UCF football program grow from basically a high school team. I've always mentioned, like, I'm a Gator fan first. They're my first love. UCF wasn't a big enough football team when I was growing up to even be considered one of my favorite teams. Florida was the next closest thing in Gainesville. My grandparents were Gator fans, so obviously my mom was Gator fans. That's pretty much my history, and I'm never going to give up my first love in the Florida Gators. But seeing how UCF has gone from, like I said, it was basically a Division III high school team and quickly grow up to become what it is today. Everybody keeps saying, like, oh, this is just a 2-year run for UCF. No, this has been a work in the makings over the last 35 years. Basically, my entire life has this been building up to this point, and they've done it methodically. It hasn't been quite as fast as USF has had their success, and I'd have to look back. I don't know much about USF's history to know why they skyrocketed so fast, but it's been methodical. It's been done the right way. And from Dante Culpepper to, your boy Brandon Marshall to Kevin Smith, all the way up to Blake Bortles, and now we have what we have today in Mackenzie Milton. UCF is poised to take the next step. It's ready for the next step. It needs to happen. And I hope College Game Day talks about that. I hope when Kirk Herbstreit and Lee Corso and all the other guys are here that they talk to the students, they talk to the fans, they talk to the administration, they talk to the coaches, and they see how much UCF has grown and how big it is now, and that it's here to stay, Loudbeard. It's not going anywhere. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's rarely ever taken several steps back. There was the 0-16 step back, or 0-12, sorry, but then they came back right away. So that was just a blip in the radar. Loudbeard, how excited are you for this?
I am over the top excited. I have to be there. I have to be in the middle of this. Like I said, I was spending all night making posters. I don't even know how to begin with how tomorrow is going to be one of the greatest days of my UCF life. And just seeing UCF in the spotlight, like you said, this is a school that is still considered to be a young school. I mean, like a 50-year-old school is a young school in the terms of schools' ages. And the program has developed so quickly, like you have said. It has developed so quickly, and I don't think people give that the credit it deserves. And we have seen just an unbelievable shift from it being, like you said, almost like a high school program to now being, I mean, I hate to say it, but a very formidable juggernaut of a program in the American Athletic Conference. So, yeah, we're not in a Power 5, but the Power 5 gets nervous when they hear UCF. The Power 5 teams don't want to play UCF. And, for example, playing Pitt this year, UCF never, ever looked like they would lose that game. Pitt was handled easily, and Pitt has had a good year this year, and they haven't had a loss like they had that loss to UCF. So I'm saying that tomorrow is a monumental day for the UCF football program. I think they are getting put on the map even more so than ever. And Danny White, the athletic director, he is a mastermind, an absolute genius. I know we got a lot of shade for the whole national championship claim originally, but the amount of discussion and to see where we are at today with College Game Day already at UCF, already set up, ready to go, making this a huge day in the program history. Danny White was a huge part of that, and I think that credit needs to be. I can't even emphasize that enough.
Yeah, and I just want to say this real fast because we're right on the time to cut off. UCF shattered the glass reality of what the college playoff is, and I've just started seeing more and more fan bases outside of UCF on Twitter start really calling out this quote-unquote playoff for the sham that it is. I see so many fan bases now realizing, and I think it's because of what UCF has done, and they've shattered that mental image, that falsehood that the playoff is a playoff, and now we're realizing it's just another made-for-TV, try-to-make-money type system, and that's not what sports fans want. I mean, sometimes we do want that, but the majority of the time, we just want to see the best teams on the field. We want to see teams compete, and we don't want to see one in a boardroom or on a Twitter board or through Kirk Herbstreit telling us who should and should not be in. But that's all we got for today. I'm excited for this weekend. It's a big weekend for the city of Orlando. Orlando, just like UCF, has been growing into a giant sports town, and it's been fun to watch, and I can't wait to see what happens this weekend and what happens beyond this weekend. It's going to be great, man.
Heck yeah.
Can't wait to see your signs, too. You're going to have to post pictures on Twitter.
Oh, you know I will. It's game day.
Game day, baby.